Hello, 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 and welcome. My name is Lisa Maria. I am a coach helping mostly women and some men these days as well work through procrastination, fear, cycles of disappointment, and self-doubt that are sabotaging them from receiving their heart's desires. Very often, the desires that I hear about in my daily coaching practice that individuals are sharing with me usually have to do with three areas: money, love, and creativity. Over the next little series of videos, I'm going to look at some key questions, actually 4 key questions for each of those areas. 4 questions for love, 4 questions for money, and 4 questions for creativity to help you identify what might be some of the roots of the blocks you're experiencing that are keeping you from receiving the results you desire in that area of your life. Because here's the reality. Your blocks to receiving what you desire are never external. No matter what your bank account looks like, no matter what your dating history, and no matter what your history was starting and finishing or not finishing your creative projects, the real issue that determines the level that you receive at, the level of fulfillment, the level of success you receive in that area has directly to do with internal factors, not external ones. Most of us are conscious of our external obstacles and we're constantly trying to fix them. But fixing the internal obstacles that we face, especially the hidden ones or the ones that are hard to find because they're buried deep in our subconscious mind, that takes a little more effort. You see, very often we can have faith, a lot of faith that God is going to move for us in our conscious mind. But doubt, self-sabotage, and procrastination and other factors can be programmed into our subconscious minds. And because we haven't dealt with the subconscious blocks, all the conscious faith in the world really isn't going to work. It's like being at cross purposes with yourself. The conscious part of your mind is believing or trying to believe that God is going to come through for you in this area, while the subconscious mind actually believes it's not possible for you to have what you want. Until you resolve the cross purposes between your conscious and subconscious mind, you're going to find it very difficult to move forward or to sustain what you obtain if you do move forward. So today let's look at money. Money is one of the top things that people come to me about, struggling to create financial abundance in their lives. Maybe they want to create a business, they want to create more income streams, they want to raise at work, they want a different job, etc. And for some reason, there's always something happening that causes a financial setback. Maybe things were going great for years and then suddenly everything fell apart and you've never been able to recover. Or maybe it's just, this is the way it's always been. It's always been a struggle. Either way, I want to go through 4 questions here very briefly that will help you look internally to find where there might be internal obstacles that are hindering you from moving forward. Now, the first question is this: what is the amount of income that you made? So how much did you make over the last 4 years of your life financially? How much money came in over the last 4 years? I want you to add up the total amount from each of those 4 years to give you a grand total for all 4 years. Now, divide that total by 4. That will give you your average yearly income for the last 4 years. Now, here's the thing about that number. Most of us look at that and we say, that's all I was able to get in the last 4 years. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's very little. Maybe the average is okay, but you know that 1 year there was a lot of income and then the other 3 years there weren't. Whatever the case with that number, we tend to think that, oh, this is all I could get. But did you know in reality that your average yearly income for the last 4 years is an indicator of all that you were willing to receive? When you look at that number, one of the first things you need to do to actually change the situation is not to see yourself as, in a sense, a victim of or being controlled by circumstances that only gave you that much money. You are actually the creator of that amount. That amount reflects whether or not your conscious mind and subconscious mind were in harmony enough that you could actually be open enough to receive more from God. If you're looking at that number and you're going, Lisa Maria, that's a really small average number across the last 4 years, then the issue that we're having to deal with looking at that number is that you're actually not really willing to receive that much money. That right there is one of the number 1 blocks I see with financial increase in people's lives is, and I can tell you in my own, I mean, I periodically have to work through this again because every time I'm about to go to new level, I tend to see my income decrease. Why? Because my brain has a set point about what it believes is possible for me, and I actually have to change the set point in order to see my income increase. Because if I don't change the set point in here, I'm not able to receive it here. So when you look at that number, I want you to say to yourself, this is what I could receive. This is what I chose. This is the amount of increase I could handle. But I'm ready to go to a new level, and I'm ready to open myself up and receive more from God. So that's question number one. How much did you make over the last 4 years? And that number reflects how much money you're actually willing to receive, which is probably a lot less than you think you're willing to receive. And we blocked number one. The second question is, what is your earliest memory of money? A lot of our blocks against the things we most deeply desire, whether it's love, money, or creativity, in this case money, financial increase, are settled in our minds between the age of 0 and 7. It depends what expert you talk to. It could be 0 to 4, 0 to 5, 0 to 7, 0 to 10. Somewhere in those early years of life, we get our basic ideas about money. And those basic ideas stay with us for life, no matter how much more financial education we get, no matter how much more training or how much we try to reprogram the conscious mind. Those subconscious beliefs stick with us, and they come from those early experiences. So I challenge you to just get quiet with yourself. Don't try to rake through all of the mental files in your head. Just get quiet with yourself and with God, and just let your mind lightly wander over the past, back to your childhood, and see what early memories bubble up for you around money. The question then becomes, are they positive? Are they negative? Were you seeing adults interact with money in an anxiety-driven sort of way? Were you seeing people fling money around like it was water, only to be broke later, and kind of get the idea that, if you're too comfortable with money, it's going to leave you? Whatever it is. It might be positive experiences. It might have started out positive in life, but very often if you're struggling financially, or you have a set point that's very low, as we may have discovered in question number one, then question number two then becomes, what was that earliest memory? Because much of your subconscious beliefs about money, no matter what you consciously believe, subconsciously your beliefs, if they have not been reprogrammed, are going all the way back to those early experiences. Number three, who has been the most influential person in your life in regards to money? And how successful are they? Very often we get our financial ideas from the closest people in our lives. Parents, grandparents, teachers, maybe an early mentor we had in high school or something like that. And the question I want you to ask is, what was that person's reality with money? Because very often I've found that the people we've taken financial advice from actually aren't people who were living the kind of life we want to live. Now, you may have since met people like that. You may have hired a guru, or you may have listened to a teacher whose lifestyle or financial success you want to emulate. But if you look back into the past, again, some of those earliest ingrained patterns, beliefs about money, like money is scarce, you need to hoard it, you need to save it, you need to be more focused on saving than multiplying your money. You should have a certain kind of job because that will guarantee you a safe financial future. All of these types of things, they go back to that person who was very influential in our lives. And it doesn't necessarily mean influential in a good way. If you grew up with a single parent that you constantly saw struggling for money, the likelihood of you playing out that parent's struggle for money in your own life is very high. I can tell you this from my own personal experience. I'm still working through this one myself. And it's one of the things as a coach, I'm really transparent with my clients about the things I'm still walking through and learning, because I want you to know that this is an ongoing journey. There's no magical moment where you overcome everything, and until you pass on and go to be with God, there's always work to do. And this is a big one for me. because the individuals in my life that I took my financial cues from were people who mostly struggled throughout their lives. And so my life for a very long time looked like their financial choices because I was simply emulating what I saw. Okay, so we've had the question of what was your income for the last 4 years divided by 4. That is not how much money you were able to get, it's how much money you were willing to receive. What is your earliest story around money, and what are the emotions and feelings that are associated with that story? Number 3 question, who is this person in your life who was influential very early in your life to set and form your ideas about money, either based on their words to you or based on their actions and their own experience with money? And again, positive or negative emotions. Was that person successful themselves with money, or do they struggle? And does your own life reflect their experience with money? And then the last and 4th question that I will ask you is, what do you believe it is necessary for you to have first before you can have more money? When I speak with clients, very often they say things to me like, well, but Lisa Maria, I need to start a business first, but I need to join this program first, but I need this, this, and this to fall into place before money can come to me. And my question to you is, what if you reconnected your conscious and subconscious mind, so they were no longer at cross purposes with each other, but they were, deeply connected around a single purpose, a single belief, single set of values and ideas around money, such that when you ask for money, money comes. Now, it might come through a job, it might come through income streams, but I can tell you from my own experience with abundance that money can come through a million different ways. God is so creative. And we very often, we put roadblocks in the process with God, and we're like, well, but I need this to happen first before that can happen. So I want you to ask yourself right now, what do you believe needs to happen first before you can receive more money? And are you willing to change that belief? I hope these 4 questions have been helpful for you. If you find that any of these are really triggering a lot of insight for you, or have kind of put things in a totally new light, and you're like, I don't even know what to do with this. That's very common. When I ask people these questions, a lot of times they're shocked to look at where many of their subconscious ideas and beliefs may be driving their reality more than their conscious mind. And certainly what's happening inside of us is driving our results far more than the external circumstances around us. The good news is that God made the mind powerful. He made our words powerful, and we have the capacity to change our lived external experience in the world by changing what is happening inside, by reprogramming those stories, by choosing to be open to receiving something bigger and better in our lives, which is a total body process, by the way. You simply can't consciously decide, oh, I want to receive more money, and be open to it. You have to clear out those blocks and those emotions, and heal and rewire those stories inside that are subconsciously telling you can only be one way. You have to, in a sense, break up with the financial strategy of that individual. Oftentimes a parent or someone very close to you, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you'll have to break up with those stories that they taught you that have actually been driving and affecting your financial experience in the world. And you will also have to completely reprogram your thinking around what's necessary in order for you to receive money, so that you're not blocking it by putting more steps in the process than they need to be there. We serve a God of abundance, He's a God of increase, and He's a God of absolutely no limits. And isn't it time that you and I began to think like God, that our minds were completely renewed, so that our conscious and subconscious minds did not contain doubt and fear and worries about lack and other things that actually are causing us to be aligned with an experience in life that is not reflective of our identity in Christ and who God says we are. We are, if you know Christ, you're a son or a daughter of God. And a son or daughter of the Most High God doesn't have to storm heaven begging for an answer to prayer or treating God like an adversary. A son or a daughter who is walking in their authority should be able to go to God and to naturally receive from God, because they understand who they are and they are completely free and emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically to receive. Answer these 4 questions. I guarantee you'll discover a lot about yourself, and then send me a message through lisamariacoach.com/contact. That's the best way to reach me, or just go to lisamariacoach.com. You'll see contact in the nav bar, or send me an email at hellolisammaria@gmail.com. I'd love to chat with you, love to have a complimentary coaching session if we have not had one yet, to get to know you. And in my signature coaching program, Desire Fulfilled, one of the most important things I work on with clients is rewiring those subconscious internal success blocks, so that the conscious and subconscious minds are no longer at cross purposes, but you can walk together in the freedom and authority that God wanted you to have, and that you can experience the tangible blessings in your lived life, in your physical life, that you've been so desiring to see, and you feel like you've just been waiting on God, but in reality, He's been waiting on you, and today is your day for change. I love you all. Talk to you soon.